Good morning, everybody. How was your weekend? I hope you had a great one. We had a pretty darn good one. I wish I could tell you things get a little bit back to normal on the farm this week, but they don't. I still got a lot of stuff going on, including this morning was my boys' first day of school. Preschool for both of them. They're in separate classes, but my wife and I just got done dropping them off. They did okay. I did good. My wife, she did all right. But anyway, so now it is not quite 8 o'clock. I have got to take my truck in to get that headlight fixed. They got the parts in, and I've got an appointment at 9 o'clock this morning. So I've got like a half an hour drive to get there and 45 minutes to do it in. So we get to kill a little bit of time, go get some donuts, and then we'll be heading to the farm after that. All right, I got my truck dropped off and we made it back to the farm. It looks like it's equipment shuffling day. Phil's getting the bean planter unhooked, and he wants to get the air seeder in the shop here. All right, the planters are good. They will sit there until February. Phil's gonna go hook onto the air seeder. Dad's cutting a big log up. We got all kinds of stuff going on. We gotta get the combine out of the shop here real quick though. He's got a big log on the mill there. So we're gonna let him work on that. We're gonna get the shop cleaned out. So you guys know, like a month ago, I was complaining that it was too wet, right? We had 6 inches of rain in about 10 days. Everything was flooded. It was wet. Not a good thing. Since then, we have not gotten a ton of rain. We've had, I think we had about 1.1 inches in the month of August. Today is the 22nd, I believe, 21st, 22nd of August. It was starting to get dry. It wasn't horribly dry, like our crops were suffering, but it was to the point where we really could use some rain. Last night, we had a little teeny tiny rain shower pop up where we got 7/10 of an inch or 3/4 of an inch of rain. And it was not very widespread, but it caught most of our fields and I was about perfect. So we're gonna do some little scouting today. We got double crop beans to look at. We got early maturing beans that I think are starting to turn and mature. So we're gonna go look at those, but we gotta get this out of here so Phil can get the air seeder in here. I am trying to help Phil get that air seeder hooked up, and we need a bracket to mount the display, the Green Star display, which is in the 7520 with a different display on it that I don't need in there anymore. But Dad took it over to the field this weekend, put the loader back on it for moving some logs around, so we're gonna go over there and get it. That's what I needed right there. While I was over here, I wanted to come and see the final results of what Dad did moving that dirt, and holy cow, look at it, guys. He filled it all in. That looks great. There's a little bit of water out there. We had 3/4 of an inch last night, and it's probably pounded down pretty hard. A little tillage will level stuff off and even it out a little bit, but yeah, that's way better than it was. Looks like maybe over here is going to be the low spot, and we'll probably still lose some crops there, but I think we'll be able to farm through it all. Wow, he did a great job. The guys tiling are just coming up here, finding some of the existing tile and figuring out where the mains are going to go and everything. So they got the backfield done and got to work around up here yet. All right, well, it's time to do a little scouting. It's going to get hot this afternoon, so I'm going to try and get done before it gets super hot out here. But we're in the double crop beans. I have not sprayed these for aphids yet, so I wanted to look and see how bad they are. I have chemicaled because I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to spray them. And here's why. They're on there. The question is, are they heavy enough to warrant it now, and what's the timing? There's a lot on that leaf. So I don't know. I'm going to look at them a little closer. I'm probably going to pull a plant and count and see how many we got. I do see, like there, we've got a little bit of frog eye leaf spot. There are some holes in these leaves from some other insects that are clearly feeding out here. But we've got a lot of flowers. We've got a lot of leaves coming. Look at all those trifoliates coming out down low, little ones. That's all good stuff. For the most part, this field looks incredible. I mean, these were planted like the 3rd or 4th of July. I mean, that's good. That's really good. They just got a long ways to go. Aphids. Lots of aphids. Yeah. Dang. 208. 208. And those are small plants. They can't handle. We aren't getting to 1,500, I can tell you that, because they won't take it. So it looks like we're going to be spraying the double crops for aphids this week. Should be able to do it in 2 loads. We'll get most of them. Maybe this afternoon. I don't know. Let's go look at some corn. All right, we are walking out in this field. There's a specific variety back here that I want to get to go and look at. Wade asked me to look at it for him. Whoa, you guys are facing me. Sorry, I thought you were looking the other way. Anyway, we're gonna go find it here. This first stuff is 104-day corn. It's a good number for us, and we're gonna compare it. I got 107-day out here. Behind that barn. Can you see that barn? It's over there. I think I have found the split. Know how I can tell? That one is about 1.5 feet taller than this one. This is a short variety. Apparently this one is not. So 07G73. This is a new hybrid. We're going to walk out in there a little ways and see what things look like. I'm probably going to go right down the split row so I can compare them. All right, so we'll start at the ground level. It is wet on top. We had 7/10 of an inch of rain yesterday, so we expect it to be wet on top. You'll also know the bottom of our plants are browning up. That's not a great sign, but it is the end of August and expected at this point. What's showing here is a nitrogen deficiency. This yellow brown right down the midrib of the plant, starting at the tip and working its way in, is a classic nitrogen deficiency symptom. We don't want that to creep up the plant too high. This one's starting to get awfully high up there, but as long as it stays below the ear, we're probably not giving up a huge amount of yield. Do I like to see it? No, but it's not the end of the world. Nitrogen is a mobile nutrient that we can lose it with rainwater, and we've had a lot of rain, especially in July, so we probably lost some of our nitrogen, especially the stuff that we needed late season to keep this corn going. Stalk-wise, things look good. I don't see any broken ones. A few leaves starting to hang down, but we'll just wiggle them a little bit. They seem okay. This side here, this one seems okay. This hybrid over on this side I know is going to stand really well. That's one of the good things about that hybrid. So, leaf health-wise, that looks more like insect feeding than disease. We did spray this with a tassel fungicide, Miravis Neo, so I'd expect it to be fairly healthy. There's a little bit of disease, stuff that started down low, but the upper canopy looks fantastic, so I don't see anything to be concerned about there. Now, let's peel some ears back. All right, the mosquitoes have found me, so we got to get moving here, but first thing I see is a major amount of tip back on both of these hybrids. While that's discouraging and not fun to see, it's not necessarily a bad thing. So what I don't like to see is aborted kernels, which we have got here pretty clearly. We've got some aborted kernels. This is 04G36 for those of you who know what I'm looking at. It is dented, starting to dent a little bit, but there is a good portion of that ear that is going to fill out and be pretty decent. Likewise on the 07G, on the other side here, we also have a fair amount of tip back, but this, in most cases, is actually unpollinated kernels. And I think what's causing part of this, and this is a lot of unpollinated on the ends of this too, but I think what happened is we had so much rain when we were pollinating in this corn that the ears kept growing. They kind of flexed lengthwise, but our tassels ran out of pollen, and there just wasn't anything left to pollinate those late emerging kernels or late developing silks and stuff. So we actually still have fresh silks on this side at least that are looking for pollen, but there's no pollen left to make them fill out. So did we lose some? Probably. We could have gotten better yield had we had more pollen available, but what are you supposed to do, right? These ears are much fatter, fuller, thicker than these ones. Right now, I'm going to pick this hybrid as the winner out here pretty clearly, but you never know. You can always be surprised. So it looks good. I don't know. This is not our best field by any stretch of the imagination, so who knows. And I do have a tape measure. I could take a stand count and find out how many ears we've got and do an actual yield calculation. Do I want to? No, because the bugs are getting me, but I'm probably going to. So the way that we do a stand count out here, in 30-inch rows, 17 feet, 5 inches is 1/1000th of an acre. So if I count all of the ears from right here, that stalk, to the end of the tape measure down there, and multiply it by 1,000, that's how many plants per acre we have. Or in this case, I'm counting ears, harvestable ears. This is 1. This is 2. So I did that. On this side of the row, I counted 33. On this side, I counted 32. So that's a 32.5 average. That's pretty good. I'm going to pull 2 or 3 of those ears down there, take them out, we'll count the kernels and do a raw field calculation, and we'll just get an idea. So here's the 2 ears that I pulled from the 107-day corn. I counted them. They're both 16 around, and they are, one was 35 and one was 33 long. So we're going to use 34 as our average. I might go back to the shop where I can show you guys the calculator, so I'll show you how to do this calculation. All right, we're back in the office here. So here's how we do our calculation to figure out our corn yields. I pulled out my old Golden Harvest Purdue field guide thing here, and there is a page here about the formula to use to estimate corn yields. And I can read each of those steps from you, but basically you need to know the number of ears per acre, which from our stand count we know is 32,500, or we're just going to use 32.5. Average number of rows around. On this hybrid we counted and it was 16 on both, so we're going to use 16. Average number of kernels, length, and we had a 35 and a 33, so we're going to use 34. So pull up our calculator here and we go 32.5 times 34 times 16. Shoot, I did that in the wrong order. It's really hard to do that watching my screen. Okay, so 32.5 times 16 times 34 equals that number, irrelevant. And then we divide by 90. Now 90 is the step 5 here. It says divide that number by 90, which represents the average number of kernels, 90,000, in a bushel of corn. So they're assuming that you have 90,000 kernels per bushel. So if we divide this by 90, we get a number of 196.4. If that's 196 bushel corn, I'll be pretty happy. That's about where I figure we're going to end up for the year. Now this other one, I did the same thing. I counted this one. They're both 14 around, and they were a little bit longer. I have an average of 37. So let's do that. If we take 32.5 times 14 times 37 divided by 90, it's 187.1, which means this one's not quite 10 bushel better. We'll see, right? Who knows? But there's another big factor in there that isn't well accounted for in this formula, and that's this 90. It could be 90,000 kernels per bushel. In fact, this one I'd say maybe actually looks closer to 90,000, but it could be 80,000, 70,000, 60,000. It could be 110,000. Who knows? So if we do that same formula again, let's just do this one where we do our 32.5 times 16 times 34 and instead divide it by 75,000, let's say. That's 235 bushel corn. Well, that makes a big difference, doesn't it? And before any of you say that that's the test weight that makes the difference, it's not the test weight. I don't care how many pounds fit into a certain area. What I care about is how much each individual kernel weighs and how many kernels there are in a bushel. The size of those kernels, the physical size, is really irrelevant. Now granted, a bigger kernel generally weighs more, and that is a good thing because at this point we have a fixed number of kernels that we're going to harvest per acre, right? So what I need is for each individual kernel to be as big and weigh as much as possible. And that's why we do some of the fungicides and why having late season nitrogen is so critical, because that's where your extra kernel weight is going to come from. Now, I do have another way. My dad's got these super old corn yield calculator slide rule things here. And if you go on the top, there's a slide for number of rows of kernels. So kind of whoops. This is kind of a two-hand thing. Let me see if I can do this. So get it pulled out a little ways. So if we take, up here is our 16, number of kernels per row, when we line those up, where we were, what, 34, so right there, 16 and 34, and then you come down to ears per acre in thousands, and we had 32 and a half, right? So kind of right in here, and we're right at that 196. So that must use the 90,000 kernels per bushel. Interesting. So now I broke those 2 ears in half. This is the 107 day, this is the 104 day. Do they look like they're only 10 bushel difference to you? And that's that kernel size thing and where it comes into play, right? So this one's going to have smaller kernels. Now, they may be denser and heavier and way more. I don't know. That's possible, I suppose. But my money's on this one. So Phil has started to tear apart the air seeder here. I don't know how extensive of a repair or rebuild he is going to do. I'm going to let him do it because this is going to be his project. But you can see he's got all the gauge wheels taken off and is starting to take off some of the blades. I assume we're going to put all new blades on it and replace some of the gauge wheels that are in rough shape. Some of them, the edges are pretty tore up, like in here. I don't know that the boots need to be done. I didn't think they looked that bad. I don't know. We're going to let Phil work on it. So anyway, that's happening in here. They told me that my truck was going to take 3 hours. It was slated to go in at 9, and it is 1 o'clock, and they have not called me. I was kind of really banking on going there and getting my truck and eating lunch at the same time. So I'm debating whether I just kind of head that way and hope that it's done while I'm there, or what to do in the meantime. But it's 1 o'clock and I'm hungry. I decided to go get lunch. Took my sweet time doing it. They still didn't call me. I was like almost 2. So then I needed to make a run to Menards. Menards didn't have exactly what I needed, so I thought I'll go to Lowe's. It's right across the road or down the street. So then I went to Lowe's. They didn't have what I needed either, so I went back to Menards and got something that would work. And then I went to the dealership because they still hadn't called me, and I thought, what the heck's going on here? I was there at 3:30. 3:30. Truck's still not done. Something with Chrysler's software, and it's not their fault that Chrysler doesn't have their stuff ready. Whatever. So I have now officially killed the entire afternoon. I still do not have my truck, and I don't know if I'm going to get it today or not. I'm almost back to the farm, though. That was quite a waste of a day. Phil decided to do some power washing. Looks like he got all the gauge wheels and blades. Yep, gauge wheels and blades all off. Let's go back over to the tile field, see how they're going. I'll update that project a little better than I did this morning. Find out how Dad's doing. I think he's over there cutting some trees down or cleaning up the edge. I don't know what he's doing. Let's go find out. I think last week I showed you that they were dipping this ditch out, trying to clean it and get some of the dirt that had settled into the bottom out so that the water will flow better. There's some water down there, but yeah, took a lot of material out. It's all sitting over there on the other side. We've got to get that leveled off. They'll use their dozer and knock it down, and then we can grade it from there. Looks like Dad's digging trees out. Let's go see. He's trying to clean this edge up and push back the trees that got the branches hanging way out into the field. Looks like he's got some little ones done there, and I'm guessing that tall one's going to come down here at some point. Got some logs too, it looks like. So this is the other side of that woods. Where we just were at was the south side. This is the north side. Dad did cut a few trees out of here. The woods are ours. The field here is not. The neighbor owns the field, but they told Dad if he wanted to clean this edge up and take some trees out, like that one, he was free to do so. So it looks like he did. I was just checking it out. Okay, I remembered the bug spray this time. It's time to go walk some more corn. This field here is our field that we've got that nitrogen plot in. If you'll remember back to the spring when I was side dressing, we do it for our crop consultant. They wanted us to do a test with a nitrogen stabilizer, and so we have that out here. There's 4 different strips, trials, and it's replicated 3 or 4 times. So I'm going to try and find one of those replications and see if we can see any difference in the nitrogen deficiency, the firing on the stalks of the different trials. You know, the bottom leaves are turning yellow, and see if those different nitrogen rates are showing up at all at this point. They'll come in and do some actual stalk nitrate tests and things closer to harvest, but I just want to take a look. So I think right on the edge of the end rows, I got to find a flag. I found a flag. It's a yellow flag. This is 75% of the grower normal rate without a stabilizer. So this would be like if I put 75% of what I put on the rest of the field. Our normal was 190. This is 142 pounds of side dress nitrogen. That looks pretty darn good for 3/4 of what I would have put on without that. So I'm pretty impressed here, actually. We don't see very much firing. Look at that, though. Oh boy, that's tar spot and some northern tar spot. Not coming up yet. We sprayed this. Little bit of leaf disease. There's a northern corn leaf blight. That big dark brown streak on that leaf. There, you can see it. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna walk that way. There's 16 rows to get to our next trial, next strip, and I can look up and see what that is. So this is the next trial. There's a red flag right there. This is 75% rate, so I got the same amount of nitrogen, but it had the stabilizer put in it. And the stabilizer, basically, it's I talked about it a lot when we put this on, but it's there to help keep the anhydrous, or the nitrogen, from converting into a different form that is more leachable. It makes it more stable in the soil so that it sticks around longer, is the idea. Question is, how effective is it, and how long does it last, and all that kind of stuff, and can you cut rates if you use it and not have any deficiencies? I don't see a ton of difference. This actually may look a little bit more fired than the last one. It shouldn't be, but looks about the same to me. Disease pressure. Okay, this is a blue flagged strip. I'll have to look it up and see what that means. It looks a little greener. The leaves hanging down look greener on this to me than the last ones did, but I don't know. So let me look up and see what blue meant. Blue, so this strip is the normal rate, 190 pounds without stabilizer. The next one that we go down there will be the 190 pounds with stabilizer. Again, I doubt we'll see any difference. Maybe, I don't know. What do you guys think? Looks the same to me. Anyway, we're gonna do a stand count and pull a few ears here. We'll do a yield check like we did here this morning, because this corn has looked really good. I'm hoping that it's as good as it looks. Little disease pressure on the lower leaves. I think I did spray this early too. This got 2 shots of fungicide. This hybrid is not great on its disease package. That's what I'm finding out here, but still looks pretty good. So let's take a look. Count. 31 on both sides. Important note, this hybrid is one that we plant at low populations. And so 31 is probably about right in what we planted and aimed for. So I'm gonna pull 2 or 3 ears out of here. They feel good. We'll go count them up. Nice fat ears. Starting to dent. We still got that tip back. That's pretty characteristic this year on everything. Makes me a little nervous, but you never know. All right, let's count them. 18 by 36 and 18 by 30. So that'd be 18 by 33 average. Let me do the math. At 90,000 kernels per bushel, that'd be 204, 205. At 75,000, it's 245. I bet those kernels are closer to 75 than they are to 90. It's good corn out there. Taking a quick look at the beans I sprayed with manganese last week. Definitely greened them up, except for that pocket right there along the edge where they're actually dying because of dry weather or maturing, one of the two. But yeah, it worked. I stopped to look at another field, and now I'm getting pretty discouraged about our corn. Oh gosh. This field here is full of tar spot. Full of it. It looks pretty crappy, actually. I thought this would be pretty good corn, but now I'm not so sure. When the leaves up above the ear and the husks are turning brown before this corn is mature, it's a bad sign. All right, we're gonna go look at a couple more fields, and then we're gonna stop before we keep discouraging ourselves. Just looking at the edges of the cornfields and a little bit of walking out in them I've done, I really feel like our corn has gone downhill big time in the last week. I mean, I was pretty busy last week and gone and didn't get to look at stuff too much, and I'm not encouraged. I'm pretty confident that our corn crop is still going to be really good for us, but it just just feels like we ran out of water, we ran out of nitrogen, and it got too dry too quick for us, I think. That's what it feels like anyway. I don't know if that's true or not. I think that rain that we got last night is probably going to save us a lot of this stuff, but I also think it was a week too late. I don't know. I'm not as encouraged as I was a week or two ago. All right, so this field here is the one that I wanted to show you guys. These are early beans, 2.2 maturities, and I don't remember exactly when they were planted, but I think it was in April. I'd have to double check that, but I think it was. So, see that hillside there? Little pocket right here. Those beans over by that tree. See how they're yellowing? Those beans are maturing. Those are, that is maturity being reached. Like they're starting to turn. The leaves will turn yellow and then start falling off the plant, and or there, which means I would assume we are 3.5 to 4 weeks away from harvest. So probably about the 15th of September, we're going to be very seriously thinking about coming out here to combine beans. Not a bad thing. It's a little early maybe, but it's not a bad thing. What it does mean is there are less things, not none, but less things that can kill my beans and take away the yield. So well, at least that's positive, right? The beans look decent. I don't know. Beans are super hard to tell what they're going to yield. Corn, at least we have a formula we can use. You can count pods per plant and stuff, but you can have such a variable in how many plants per acre and everything. It's extremely difficult to come up with a good yield estimate on soybeans, and I have no idea. I hope they're good, but I have no idea. Those beans across the road are yellowing up a little bit too. You can see same thing right there along the edge. Same variety, basically the same planting date. The hills and the stressed areas are going to show signs first, just the way it is. The dips and the green areas that have more moisture won't mature quite as quickly. Hey everybody, look, it's Anna. What you doing? She's painting. Oh no. Uh-oh, she spilled all the paint. So we've got this nice farm sign up on our barn. Dad decided it needed a paint job, which it probably does here. Mom told him he's not allowed to do it, and that Anna wasn't allowed to be up here either. So Dad's like, fine, I'll make it safe. And he built a platform and a handrail and a ladder and the whole 9 yards. So Anna's now up here painting. It's close. He'll be fine. Painting. Did he sand our copper? He sanded the copper. I don't know about that. Oh well, we had put this copper on there and clear coated it so it didn't tarnish, and it worked really well, but gonna need another coat of clear now. Anna leaves for college on Wednesday, so you better hurry up.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna paint the rest of it. I'll try.
Anyway.
What have you been doing all day?
I have been watching our crops die. Scouting fields.
Yeah, why are the beans yellow on the corner?
Well, they're maturing. That's okay. They're just maturing, but
that's what Dad said.
Some of our corn doesn't look so great. Although I still think it's going to be pretty good. And I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. Okay, I'm going home. It's 5:45. They called me to tell me that they are not going to get my truck done tonight, which is super awesome and adds to the great day that we had here today. I'm a little bit discouraged, to be honest. I'm quite discouraged on what I saw from the corn and the beans today. Now, I still think that our corn is good, like I said. It's just the tip back that I'm seeing isn't a positive thing. The firing up the stalks in certain places is not a good thing. It looks drought stressed. We had some rain last night. That'll help, but it looks like our corn is giving up and dying. The tar spot in that field that I found is just terrifying. I should have sprayed more fungicide, but we sprayed an awful lot as it was, and poor management, that's what that is. So anyway, beans, who knows, we'll see. I've been kind of discouraged on beans for a while, fighting the aphids that we have been and other stuff, so I don't know, but they're starting to get towards the finish line here, and that is okay. So there is chances of rain the next about 6 or 7 days in a row. I said that last week, it didn't rain at all. So who knows whether this week will be any different. It looks like it's going to be hot, and it's going to be those popcorn hit and miss pop-up showers every evening, and you may get some, you may not. So who knows. That's what we got yesterday, and we were fortunate we caught one. So, never know. Tomorrow, another different day. I've got to go to our John Deere dealer is putting on a harvest summit. So they're doing this up in Kalamazoo. I'm gonna learn about John Deere combines and what I need to know, and the operations center, the data management side of stuff, and all of that good stuff. So I'll try and make a video. We'll see how it goes. I gotta be there like 8:30, get out at 2:30, so I doubt there'll be a whole lot else going on after that, but we'll see. Oh yeah, speaking of combines, we better put this one away before we go. I'm gonna move Dad's trailer full of boards over there, and he can do with it what he wants, but then we can get combine in here pretty easily. All right, it's time to go home. See how my kid's first day of school was.